Using Easy CBM to find some data for your students in reading and math, it's a great level of data for Tier 1 before passing along a student and their information to the title teacher for the longer diagnostic that we would do for DIBELS, which is also one-on-one. Easy CBM is a great tool to track progress as well. This is something that you may find that you want to keep on using and continue to use with many of your students who you may feel are at risk, or even ones that are higher, to try to find a great placement for them. Okay, first what you're going to have to do is sign up for this. If you hit register, it is free for the light version. That is currently all we have. We do not have the money to buy this year the other version. The other version has a little bit more features, including diagnostics. This is more considered progress monitoring, but it does give you lots of great data and information for your students, especially for a one-on-one test if you're not familiar with how to proctor or administer DIBELS itself. Okay, so once you register, we'd ask that you make it pretty easy for your registration. So your username, if you could just possibly have your first name, last initial, your email, and your password, OHIO123. OHIO123 again. Okay? And the reason we're going to try to make this simple, and I'll go into this in another moment, is because this is the free account. It's not paid for, and so they could be using this information for research. Okay, mine, here's mine here, and I have OHIO123 also. This also makes it easier for any of our teachers to log in as you, or you can log in as me, because if we share students, that way we can look that up too. Okay, so here, once you're in here, you're going to need to add students, and then we have measures. Measures are basically what they're going to be tested on. Interventions, we don't have a lot of those with the light version, but we do have reports, and those are really nice. Nicely done with the charts. They track them, everything. This resources here, it provides you a wealth of information if you need extra training on Easy CBM and where to find things. Let me first go to students, because this, for our situation here at Odella, again, because we have the light version, we are not going to put students' last name at all into our system because of the private and confidential information we don't want shared. So how we're going to do this is we're going to, when you add students, we're not going to put in a student ID. We're going to leave that blank, but we're going to have student 1. Okay, and then student 2, student 3. So we're going to share a spreadsheet amongst us, then we're going to fill in from our Google Drives the students 1, student 2, and what their real names are. So that way it's kept completely confidential. Those are the only fields that we need to fill in with the red asterisks. But feel free, especially for special education and ELL, if you would like to do those, would be relevant. And then create. Okay, these were ones that I was practicing with earlier, but we did come up with a better system to make them student 1, student 2. And then I'll share that with you again. And we can have all the grades. We'll decide how we'll do that as well. Okay, so we'll create your student roster. All of mine are going to be down here. Okay, and then we could put them in groups. And then to add a group, in case you wanted to do groups, which you probably won't be needing to, but I'm going to have a group name, and I'm just going to call it Tier 1. Okay, now I can add my one student here and my second student here to those groups. Okay. All right, so now if we go and look and open our Tier 1 reading group, oops. You'll see that that's all that was needed to be done. You didn't have to hit an add or anything. If I click on my All Students group, this comes up. If I click on my Tier 1 reading group, that comes up. The reason groups are important would be probably for the older level kids when you're doing math tests, because you couldn't give those, or comprehension tests, you give those asynchronously. You do not have to give them one-on-one like the fluency tests. Okay, so then once your groups and your students are in there, then you'll go over to measures. And we'll start here with kindergarten. For progress monitoring, notice we do not have, again, the diagnostic testing, but this is still very informative. We have letter naming here, the tests. If you go here, we have our letter sounds. We have phoneme segmenting, which is just like we did in DIBELS, and word reading fluency. If you choose to do math, we have numbers and operations, geometry, and measurement. I'm going to go back up to reading for letter naming, especially at the kindergarten level. You can see the student copy is here. And this is what you'll share with them on the board for them to go through and letter name. And there is a timer that they'll have. So with that being the student copy, here is our assessor copy. Okay, so with this, you'll see that it is a 60-second time test. And when I go to enter scores on the other sheet, it will allow me to do that as the student is reading off the letters. This is who I want to give it to. And I'm just going to give it to Chill H for now, which might be student 3. Okay, so this is what the great part about this is, and where we'll collect the data for you. If that student's ready to go to start naming letters, we'll go ahead and hit start. And then as they read them, if they get them incorrect, of course, this will be on a different screen that your student does not see. They'll only see the student copy. And then after 60 seconds, you're going to be able to put this part, the last letter. So I'm going to pause and let it fast forward. Okay, 60 seconds is up. So I'm going to say right here was the last letter. You'll note that it'll put that marked for you, and then you hit save. And not only will it create wonderful charts for you, it will, at all times, you can go back and look at the exact exam that was given. So you can see exactly which letters that they got incorrect. And with that, that's where you go to reports to find them. So I'll go to individuals right now. I'll go to the student I just worked with. And here we can see that they got 45 letters correct. That was a 94% accuracy. And if we can view the test as well. So there's a lot that can be done here with these students for 60 seconds that you have them with you to keep that letter recognition for that one. Now if I go back to measures, I'm going to go ahead to the second grade one. And here we have word reading fluency, passage reading fluency, and multiple choice reading comprehension. The multiple choice reading comprehension can be done asynchronously. So your students can be in with you at any time in the session and they can do it on their own, or they can actually spend the time doing it with offline hours as well. Okay, so let's take a look at the preview of this, and it would be timed for them. And they can make the letters larger too. But after this, they have multiple choice questions. Oops, making me pick an answer first, sorry. Okay, so you see how that works, and it would stop them then afterwards. Now, if you are a second grade teacher and you do see that there may be a student who is way below the second grade, of course, go to kindergarten to try to find their baseline to get a start. One day we'd love to have the diagnostic, which would give us our baseline for us. But right now, knowing our students, though, being that it's going to be March here, I think you probably have a pretty good idea where you might want to start with these kids. Now, again, we don't have math title services, so this will be best used for your reading Tier 1 intervention data to pass along to get the DIBELS diagnostic and to get our students into title then with the limited space that we have, unfortunately, right now. But feel free to look through all of this, sign up for your account, and please remember one more time when you do add a student, please make it like student 1, student 2, student 3, etc. And then we are going to have a separate spreadsheet for those student names to match up so they don't have any of our confidential information in their system here. Thank you, and I hope that this is going to provide us some great information and get to know your students' levels a little bit better.